New year, same bike, but with different parts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna be our ride for the year of 2023. So I got this bike the year it came out in 2021. It's a Commencal Clash size medium. I've added some frame wrap to the frame. It does a really good job at, you know, keeping it from getting scratched, but on certain sections I've noticed that the adhesive has kind of came off. But for the most part, everything that I've installed has been solid in regards to the frame wrap. I'm running a sensitive setting for the kinematics. It's a little bit more designed for downhill riding. You could set it to a responsive setting, which is more playful, mainly more for dirt jumps, but since I do a lot of downhill riding, I decided to stick with the sensitive setting. In the 2 years that I've had this bike, I've probably cleaned and greased my frame bearings once. It's been good. I haven't had any creaks, any issues like that. I'm pretty sure you should be doing it at least once a year, but in the 2 years I've done it once and I've had no issues. I used to run an air shock. It was a RockShox air shock, but I switched to coil and it's been my favorite thing that I've done to the frame. It's a Marzocchi Bomber CR with a FoxShock coil. It's 450 by 2.80. I carry a hand pump that's screwed on at the bottom of my frame. This has actually been really handy, not only me, but for people I ride with, like friends. You know, if they get a flat or they want to pump some air in their tire, they just, you know, borrow it from my bike. And it's super sturdy, like it's never fallen on me, and I ride some pretty chunky trails. I also have a frame strap up top with a tube, tire levers, and then I also have a metal container that just carries like bacon strips, some super glue, miscellaneous things really. And this has also been solid. It hasn't slipped, it hasn't fallen. I love it because I hate carrying stuff on my pack or within my pack. So if I can strap it to the frame, I'm gonna do so. And I like to carry some good luck charms on the frame. I got this bracelet that my brother gave me from Brazil. This one my buddy Julian gave me, and then I got a Ninja Turtle on there. My favorite cartoon was the Ninja Turtles growing up, and my favorite character was Raphael. And my favorite color is red too, so it worked out. I think that's why I picked him as my favorite character. And the last little bracelet I have, I went to school in Sacramento. I went to Sacramento State. This is just a bracelet I got from over there. It says Proud Hornet. And yeah, these are just like my good luck charms. I don't know if they actually give me good luck, but I like to just have them as memories. So now we're moving on to the back section of the bike. I'm rocking a Maxxis Minion DHR tire, 27.5 by 2.40. I got it tubeless. I've only really ran Maxxis tires, and I'm a fan of them. I really haven't had any issues with them. I traditionally just get the same tire over and over because I'm used to it. But I know there's a ton of tires out there that I think this year I really want to experiment with different tires. I know there's other solid brands out there, so I just want to get well-rounded and try to ride different things. I got an Ethirteen Boost 148 hub, a Ethirteen TRS Plus hoop. This rear wheel, I swapped it out for the stock one that it came when I got the bike, and it's been amazing. I love the sound of the hub. It's a lot beefier of a wheel. It's a lot stronger. When I swapped out the rear wheel, I also swapped out the cassette. I bought a Ethirteen cassette because my old cassette was a Shimano and it wasn't compatible with the Ethirteen hub, so I had to buy a specified Ethirteen cassette to work with the hub. It goes from a 9 tooth all the way up to a 50 tooth, and it has a 556% range. My previous Shimano one was 11 speed, so having an extra gear has actually felt pretty good. I like it. But yeah, I've been a big fan of this wheel setup. I think it was a nice upgrade to the back end of my bike. Moving on to the shifter, we got a Shimano Dior derailleur. I've actually broken one of these before. It was the one that came on the bike when I first bought it. I broke it about 1.5 years into having this bike, and then I replaced it with the exact same one. The reason the last one broke was because I hit it on a rock and it just snapped it. So it was basically my fault. It didn't just break from usage. It broke because I slammed it into a rock. And it has a clutch, which is really cool, keeps your chain nice and tight. Making our way forward, we got a SRAM chain. I'm not too picky when it comes to chains. I've noticed like SRAM chains are pretty good, and I've had pretty good luck with KMC chains, depending on the model. But for the most part, everything that KMC has made and I've used has been solid. Same thing with SRAM. But again, I think everything has a lifespan. Nothing lasts forever, so eventually something's bound to break. But from my experience, SRAM and KMC chains have been good to me. I've had these cranks and this sprocket since day one, since the day I got this bike. They're Shimano Dior cranks with, I believe, a Shimano sprocket. The sprocket is a 32 tooth and the cranks are 170, I believe, in length. Hugging my entire drivetrain is a 4-ears E1 chain guide. It's actually like a bash guard slash chain guide because it keeps my chain nice and tight, but at the same time protects the bottom of my sprocket. So it's like a 2-for-1. I was a little hesitant on the brand just because I haven't really heard too much about it. I went ahead and purchased this bash guard just because the price point was pretty good, and it's been amazing. It hasn't caused me any issues. It does what it needs to do. It saved my sprocket a handful of times, and it doesn't slip, it doesn't move. Once you get it tight, it just stays in place. Hugging my feet on the trails, I got some Deity T-Mac pedals. On one side, I have a set of longer pins than the other side. The pins that it comes with have plenty of grip, but I'm just a little crazy, I guess. I prefer to have like my feet super glued onto the pedal, and that's why I just went with a little longer of a pin. Moving up, I got a Ride Alpha seat clamp, and then I have a EXA form dropper post. It's 125 millimeters, I believe. The previous one that I used to have was only 100 millimeters, and I felt like it was a little too short, so I went with the 125. The reason I love these types of seat posts is that I'm not a big fan of having a bunch of cables on my cockpit. If I could, I'd go with wireless shifting, but I just don't want to spend the money on that whole setup, and then if it breaks on me, it's just a hard pill to swallow. You know, I think they're like 800 bucks, but I'm a big fan of having a clean cockpit, and if I can minimize having a lot of cables on my cockpit, I'm gonna do so. So with the dropper posts, I just do it manually. Just pull on this lever and it pops up. If I want it to go down, I pull on it and I sit on it, it goes down. This dropper post isn't for everybody. I know there's some people who like the convenience of just having it a click away from your thumb, but I guess it just comes down to preference, whatever you're into, really. I just picked up this seat about a month ago. It's a Tidal seat. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that it's not really designed for enduro riding, but the first couple rides that I've had on it has actually been more comfortable than my previous fabric seat, which was a seat designed for enduro style riding. But on their website, they recommend using this for like a downhill bike or a dirt jumper bike. We got a Race Face Turbine R stem. The length of the stem is 32 millimeters, which is pretty short, but I'm a big fan of having the bars closer to me than away from me, so I think this stem has just been such a good feel for me. Down beneath it, I have a 4-cross headset. This I definitely got to replace. It's the same headset that I got on the bike about 2 years ago. I've greased it a handful of times and it still makes a bunch of creaking noises, so I think I'm just gonna replace it altogether. I've been meaning to do so, but I've been lazy. I haven't gone to a bike shop or looked into headsets, but that's one thing I think I will have to upgrade on this bike is the headset. I also just picked up these Tidal MTB handlebars. These are the AH1 35 gloss white handlebars. I have them in 38 millimeters of rise and the bar diameter is 35 millimeters. They come in 810 millimeters in length, but I cut them down to 780 millimeters in length. And the cool part about these bars is they mark on the bar ends where you need to cut to get that length. So it has like the numbers. If you want 760, 770, 780, it's all marked on the bar, so you just cut on the line and makes it a lot easier for you because you don't have to measure anything. Wrapping my handlebars all together are some Vans ODI lock-on grips in black. I used to run the tan color ones on my old bars, but when I got these new bars, I decided to throw on the black ones just because I felt like it matched a little better than the tan ones. For my shifter, I got a Shimano Dior shifter. This is something I haven't changed since day one that I got the bike. I haven't serviced it, haven't done anything. I've changed the shifting cable once in the 2 years that I've had it, and the time that I changed it was when I broke the rear derailleur. I'm not a big fan of the brakes, but one thing I will admit is that these brakes are extremely durable. They're tough. They're built like tanks. They are the SRAM guide brakes. I've never serviced the levers. I've just kind of cleaned them up here and there with some isopropyl alcohol and gave them a good cleaning, but in regards to taking them apart and redoing the seals, I've never done that. And I've crashed quite a bit on this bike, and these brakes just take a beating. I put a little bit of electrical tape just to protect them a little bit more. They're still pretty banged up and still working to this day, which is cool. So they don't have the best stopping power in my opinion, but they are extremely durable. In the front, I have a SRAM Avid rotor in 200 millimeters, and then my front wheel is also an Ethirteen hoop and hub setup. This was the original wheel that came on the bike from day one, but the front wheel has been performing for me. I haven't had a reason to change it, so I've just left it alone. My front tire is a Maxxis Minion DHF 27.5 by 2.50. We're rocking a RockShox Yari fork. It's 180 millimeters of travel. The rear I have 170 millimeters of travel. I've done a 200-hour service on it once in the 2 years that I've had it, and I would say I've done like 4 or 5 lower leg services since I've had this bike, and the fork's been good. It's, you know, if you take care of something, it'll last you, and that's exactly what's been happening. This fork has just been performing pretty well since day one, just because I've been upkeeping the maintenance. I usually run 75 psi in the front. This thing is really cool too. I've had it for a while. It's a mosh guard, and it just prevents like dirt from flying in your face. Connected with 3 zip ties. One of the zip ties has broken on me, but just swap it out, it's quick. The tire sealant that I'm rocking, it's made by Trucker Co. I believe it's called Cream, and I usually get about this size of tire sealant from Amazon, and this will last me a good while. I can probably make this last like through 2 different sets of tires. I'll link everything in the description below so you guys can check stuff out, or if you want, you know, more information on something, it'll all be down there. But yeah, for anybody who's new to the channel or have been subscribed to the channel, I just wanted to fill you guys in on what we're gonna be riding in this year of 2023. Pretty much the same, but a little different. You know, we're rocking different parts, and I'm sure throughout this year I'll probably be switching out a few things. Like I said, I wanted to try out new tires, so we might be experimenting with new parts. If you guys have any questions about my setup, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next ride.